seriously.
No one's even
and we're live. The fucking Crowded Room podcast.
It's the Crowded Room podcast with Alex and Jer. We already got one like. Woo! Fuck, we're popular.
Hell yeah. We got one person watching before we even started this time. So
yeah.
That's a
new
record.
You.
I'll cheers to that.
All right.
Tiptoeing through the jewelry store, Christian Dior, me and dragging to the floor. I don't really care about
drinking whiskey. We're drinking beer.
Pay me in jewels while I'm blowing up the
Let's take one, yeah.
Tiptoeing through the jewelry store, Christian Dior, me and dragging to the floor.
All right.
It's a great song.
Short. Ladies and gentlemen.
Tiptoe 4 by Riff Raff.
Welcome back
Yellow Wolf
to the goddamn Crowded Room podcast. Fuck yeah, thank you. Please calm down.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, shut up. We got important shit to talk about. Obviously, the world fell apart since the last time we saw you.
World War III is beginning right
looming,
now. Happening right now as we speak.
And I want to say I told you so. You know, Oz said, "Don't fucking worry," and I said, "Shut up, Oz." The world's falling apart.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, Nostradamus was trying to tell us.
Yeah, and look at us now.
So many people tried to say it's gonna happen.
Yeah. And honestly, like the whole state of emergency, what good is a charter of rights and freedoms if all it takes is a couple of honks and then like, oh, well, this is clearly grounds of fucking throwing the charter of rights away.
Well, yeah, what good is it if it doesn't actually protect your freedoms?
Well, it does. It does until an emergency act comes in. And that emergency usually meant like the fucking sky was falling.
Yeah, exactly. It meant we were actually like Ukraine.
Yeah, exactly.
Ukraine should be using the emergency act right now.
Yeah. But what you do see Ukraine doing is fighting back, I guess, pretty damn hard. Putin's whole thing is blown up in his face. He thought it was going to be an overnight thing, and now it's 2 weeks into it.
Did he think that though? Like,
I'm
not saying. Okay, so you got to think. It's like there's like all the media sources telling us what's going on, and I'm not saying they're wrong in this case, but I keep seeing these things of what Putin's saying, and it sounds like he just wants to go in and out and like demilitarize them and de-Nazi-ize them, he said. And I don't know how true that is, but I've read that several times now that he's going in there to de-Nazify the fucking place.
Yeah.
How true is that? You know, like, and if so, isn't that a good thing?
Well, according to him, it's true, right? According to us, that he's the Nazi in the story. But
well, that's just it. So we got the news saying this, but then he's saying, no, we're like, they're fucking around over here. We're taking care of that, and they're racist Nazis. So yeah. But I guess everyone that's bad now is racist Nazi.
You heard all this Hunter Biden collusion with Ukraine even years and years ago, right?
Yeah.
The idea is that they're selling off their political pull to the Western countries, not just Western countries, but Western individualized families, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that Putin directly wants to stop. That he directly wants to fight.
Well, absolutely, because like when the Soviet Union broke up, like Ukraine still worked like hand in hand with Russia, like sold them their gas for like super cheap. You're not going to get a better deal anywhere else. And then in 2014, the United States manipulated the election in Ukraine and got someone in that supported Western values. Like they wanted to work with the West, not Russia.
And a lot of people would call that corrupt.
Absolutely. Right. And what happened after that? Crimea happened. Russia invaded and they went into Crimea and like took control of some of their assets that they considered theirs. Because like before the United States fucked with their government, everything was going fine over there. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Ukraine coming to the West and joining us and all that. What is it in? What do they want to be part of?
NATO.
Yeah.
The idea is so in 1996 or so, Ukraine gave all their nuclear arms to Russia under a trade deal, saying that, hey, you're not gonna do what they're doing today, basically. And part of the US's deal, the US part of the deal, is that they aren't going to expand their force in NATO. And then boom, they do expand their force in NATO, which means they lied. They went back on their promise, and they're partially to blame for Russia not being happy about the situation right now. It doesn't mean that they forced Putin's hand on fucking taking over, but they said they wouldn't expand the NATO force. They did. Right. So they lied, and fucking now Putin's like, well, someone has to protect Russia.
Yeah.
Right.
Fair enough. But I think people don't take into account what happened in 2014. Like, that's where this all started.
Right. And
the things that I've read from Putin, he said this all started 8 years ago, and he blames the United States. And so I don't know. I'm not saying I side with him, and I don't even know if what I read was actually from him, or maybe it was just some fake shit.
I just know I'm so skeptic of anything that comes out now. You see so many videos of like families crying with their kids and stuff, and then you look back and there's that exact video was posted 5 years ago with a timestamp, and you're like, well, I thought that was yesterday.
People using footage of other things for
just to manipulate
things,
you.
Like, I guess like the people used footage from Egypt,
right? And how are you gonna know? Like,
yeah,
if it's just someone talking gibberish, you're like, oh, that's fucking cute. Like, that must be them. Yeah,
absolutely.
So it's so disseminating. It's so disillusioning.
So that's why,
honestly, it just makes you think, I can't trust anyone. And maybe that's their goal. Maybe that's the ultimate goal. Yeah.
If you can't be in control of the information, you make a sea of disinformation, and then you try to be the fucking light. You know what I mean? And that's what they're doing. That's what they've been doing for, in my opinion, the last like 20 years. But, you know, like since the internet, man, once the internet came out and they couldn't control the information, before the news, the TV was like a faucet. They just like turn it on, feed you all the bullshit, turn it off. Like they had full control of the information that you were consuming,
and you believed it all.
And whether or not you believed it all, that was the only source of information, essentially. Aside from,
you believed it was like current, at least. Whereas now you're just like, I don't know when this came from, kind of thing. It's been so deep into the media manipulation that you're finally pushing back mentally.
Hell yeah! Once the internet came out, and all these news sites started to come out and post things that the mainstream wasn't covering, all of a sudden it was like, okay, well, first let's decredit these guys for not being established news sources. You know, that was the way to shut it down first. But then, you know, these things got more and more popular, and now I swear to God, they put their own disinformation out there, just so there's so much shit out there that they can just loop or group it all together and call it all. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I saw this thing about vaccines. It was talking about all these articles that were talking shit about vaccines, making it sound like everything that I had read that was against vaccines was wrong. And then when I looked at their examples, they were like, oh, yes, so this article stated that you could turn into an ape.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, who the fuck reads that article?
It makes you roll your eyes at every single thing. One thing that is true, though, Pfizer lost a court case and has to release thousands of pages per month of not side effects, but efficacy and negative effects of their things. 0.15% is your death rate of COVID. Pfizer came out, they have 3% death rate, like morbidity is what it's called.
Well, okay, I didn't see that. I saw some other
3% morbidity rate of the Pfizer vaccine, and COVID alone is anywhere from 0.05 to 0.15%.
And Pfizer's 3%?
3%.
Solid 3%?
Yeah.
Hey, you want to be on the podcast?
Oh, hey, fellas.
How do you do, sir?
You got some shit to say?
No?
Well,
sure. Why not?
We were just talking about vaccines.
We don't even have another one. This is our friend Matt. You guys might have recognized him from a previous episode. I don't know if you're that hardcore.
Yeah.
Or not. That episode. Fuck.
There we go. Yeah. Matt
We'll
McCar or no,
here, actually.
Matt Barassa. There we go.
My last name, you son of a bitch.
Yeah,
come for me.
This is a conspiracy podcast. If you haven't noticed, but yeah, Pfizer tried. We can do that, but yeah. Anyways, Pfizer tried suing to get their files hidden for 75 years, and they lost that court case.
Yeah.
And so now they have to put out 10,000 pages a month.
So here's the thing. First of all, they're not delivering.
Release it or something like that instead of 75 years.
Yeah, but they wanted 75 years.
Yeah.
And but now those 8 months are up, and they already released one package of it.
What the fuck?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us now, this is the Crowded Room podcast. We could play a little sample of something.
You want to plug that into number 3? Please?
Yeah. Why don't we put them a song here to jam out to while we do this?
Okay.
Woo! Yeah. But anyways, you guys know the deal. We don't like to be conspiracy theorists.
No, we only talk about stuff we know. Stuff that we can kind of prove. And if we can't prove it, I will not say it like confidently. I'll tell you straight up that's what I heard. And I was actually going to say that earlier when we were talking about like Russia. Actually, I did kind of say it a bit, but it's like, man, if I just heard that and it's not confirmed, I will tell you guys that is not I will not sit here and act like I fucking know anything if I don't. Matt Good, do you have a link for the 3% death rate?
Do I have a link? No, honestly.
Anton. Oh, that's Anton.
There we go.
No,
that's not gonna work. But anyways,
there's.
Do I have a link for this? No, it was just released on that same Pfizer package there. That is good advice, though. We should come with goddamn references for what we talk about.
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing is we didn't plan on necessarily talking about that, but one thing I saw was there's this doctor that breaks down all the new evidence that comes out. So not only do we have Pfizer coming out with evidence, but we have there's a Swedish trial that just came out, and they showed how basically like he takes the information and explains it to you. And what's happening is the gene sequence that they put in
the
there,
mRNA. It actually
goes into your liver, and this is for his headphones. It goes into your liver, and it actually starts producing more DNA.
Right.
And not your DNA. It like gives it a blueprint to keep producing like more shit. And it's not good. It can change your whole genome, and it can be like fucking really fucking bad.
And that's what people have been saying it doesn't do this whole time. Right. Sorry, guys. This is a makeshift.
Can you hear this, Matt? Check.
There
Quick little sound check.
Right on. That wasn't that fucking difficult.
No,
we got to do this. There, now he can hear us.
Oh, turn it on.
Oh, you want me to turn it on?
Yeah,
there we go.
Bro, I'm just an electrician. I don't know how to fucking work a mic. Okay?
Yeah.
It's on though?
I think so.
Oh,
Yeah, I can hear myself now. Yeah.
That's perfect.
We got Matt Barassa on here. He is, I guess you'd call you a master electrician now. You did your master course, hey?
I have a ticket that says Master BC Electrician.
Master Electrician. That's fancy as shit.
I mean, it's really just fancier way of saying FSR.
What is this? What's FSR?
Like field safety representative.
Okay.
So it's like after you're a journeyman for a year, then you can go for your FSR, and then basically that allows you to pull permits for companies, but you can't pull permits for yourself unless you have a contractor's license.
Right.
But now they've changed it so that like a master electrician is basically a journeyman electrician with an FSR. Whereas before, you can be like an engineer with an FSR, but you're not actually an electrician. So, like the master is just to distinguish between like someone who has some sort of engineering or something and got their FSR versus an electrician with an FSR.
Okay. Whereas carpentry, literally any homeowner can go pull a fucking permit.
Yeah.
Like you don't need anything fancy.
I have to start a company and get like a business license and a contractor's license before I could pull permits for myself.
Right.
But I can pull permits for any fucking company at all
that you work for. Yeah, you'll get used to it. It's you can hear it in your headphones, hey? Like it's pretty obvious how far this thing has to be from you.
Yeah,
it only comes with time. And I mean,
actually a podcast learning how to do podcasts.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull this over so I can just like there we go.
Yeah,
I'll hold it like this.
And
there
if
we
you
go.
want, you can use that stand behind you. take that one off there and just
we'll figure that one out. But anyways, if you guys are just
this is the Crowded Room
tuning
podcast
out.
with Alex and Cher, and we got Matt with us now. We have 3 viewers, YouTube says, so that's pretty fucking cool. Wait, what about this one?
What?
No, I'm actually happy. When it says 3, that usually means like 10. Lonesome Lenny. We got Lenny.
We got
back.
Lenny back.
Lenny, I was worried
There we
you were gonna
go.
give up on us.
Lenny, we were worried too. But honestly, like I was worried, like people didn't give a shit about what we had to say. Like the goddamn World War III is about to pop off, and who cares what 3 assholes are gonna say in their crowded room?
Well, look at all these people. They care. We got Anton. We got Andrew.
No, this is a good turnout.
We
Fuck
got
yeah.
Davey. We got Lonesome Lenny, and that's just the ones that.
And we got our friend Matt here in the background trying to figure out. It's okay. These are.
Oh no! Take this right off.
These are technical electronics. He's gonna figure it out one day. But yeah, we've been keeping it real. Yeah. I've been busy as shit getting back to work. The carpentry season's kicking up.
That's right, but you were working with me for a little bit there.
Allegedly.
That's why we couldn't.
Allegedly.
He was volunteering.
Yeah.
I actually don't have to pay him. He said so himself.
Yeah.
You guys heard him straight up.
Yeah.
I don't have to pay him.
That's for sure. My services are free.
Yeah. But yeah, you were helping me at work there.
Mhm.
We did some tile. We tiled the backsplash in a nice place.
Yeah.
What time is it in your location? 11 here. It's 8 o'clock.
Oh
here,
wow.
Yeah.
It's 8 o'clock here. We're in Pacific time. We're in British Columbia. And yeah, British Columbia, the last friggin' horse to cross the finish line as far as getting rid of the mandates in Canada. It's odd where every single province is following the science, but then the second you cross a border, the science changes. It's like we got different scientists over here.
The science is different in BC.
Yeah.
The science says that BC needs to stay a little more locked down.
Yeah.
It's not as safe as the rest of Canada.
Even though we have lower numbers of people dying, which I mean, there's an argument to say, oh, the lockdowns are helping that. But hey, if less people are dying, doesn't that mean we can take our masks off? Like, or do we never get to take our masks off?
Speaking of that, today I went into Save On, which for Lonesome Lenny there, that's the grocery store here. Went into the grocery store and I forgot to put my mask on.
Right.
Literally
Oh, that's you. That's you. Here, let me do this while you do that. You're good. You're good. Yeah. No one can hear you.
I forgot to put my mask on and I start going grocery shopping, and I like halfway through, all of a sudden, like I realized, like, whoa, I don't have my mask on. And like, dude, for a split second, it felt like I was walking around naked. And I was like embarrassed. I was embarrassed for a split second. And then I was like, I have nothing to be embarrassed about. And no one has said anything yet. I was like, fuck this. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm never wearing a mask ever again in the grocery store. They don't care.
They don't care. I know. And I've seen guys doing it. The one reason I'll do it is because I don't want to make people like feel bad next to me, kind of thing.
No, you have to lead the way.
Yeah, it's like you almost feel
lead
like
the way, boys.
Guilty.
I know. You feel like you're kind of like making other people feel like shit. And I don't want to do that.
Lead the way, boys. You know what?
Like if I knew I was stepping on someone's toes, I would step off of their toes just out of courtesy, right? So I mean, the grocery store is one thing; it's pretty open. If we're going into like a tiny little secluded place, then I don't want to piss off some old lady. That's it.
If I'm driving around and I see someone driving by themselves with their mask on, I'll literally, we're stopped at the light together, I'll look at them, make eye contact, and laugh because I want them to feel fucking stupid. You shouldn't be wearing a fucking mask by ourselves.
That goes for anybody fucking up.
Especially like school kids. I see people walking all the time by themselves in the middle, like,
crossing the street.
No
you see that more and more now.
Wearing masks. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you,
dude?
How far have we fucking fallen, man?
Dude, I saw a fucking old guy drive by me the other day. He was wearing goggles, like splash goggles, and a mask as he was driving by himself down the road.
Yeah.
I was like,
fuck, dude.
Holy shit! Like this guy is like super paranoid.
It's turned into a symbol more than a medical service. It's a symbol of like, I care. Like, and it's not that you don't care because you don't wear a mask. It's just people assume that you're an asshole that doesn't care, right?
Yeah, but it's like anybody that knows, like, hey, so like, we're all tradesmen. Any fucking tradesman knows how masks work.
Yeah.
They need to be tight fitting,
and they only help you.
They have to be rated for the particular particulate that is filtering. And so like you have to be clean shaven,
Yeah, I was
tight fitting,
no facial hair.
So like N95s, the reason they work is because they're actually like fabricated in this process that ionizes the material. So the viral particles that come out of your breath are like actually ionized and they stick to the fabric. That's how they work. It's not that
in certain ones.
It's not that it's so tight. No, like N95s. It's not that
But
it's so
perfect, right?
It's not that it's so tightly woven that it stops every single particle. The reason it stops the particles is because it's ionized and there's like a static charge. So those particles, as you're exhaling them, they stick to the mask.
Okay.
That's the only one that has that. So like surgical masks, they just stop spittle.
Yeah.
So it's just
that's
like,
what I'm saying. And it just stops you from spitting on people.
Whereas like a cloth mask that's not ionized does nothing. The virus particles literally just like sail right through it. They don't fucking stick to it. It's like they just it does like
in the produce aisle, like there's certain people I don't give a fuck about, and then there's certain people who I was like, I wish you'd wear a mask because I don't want you spitting on my goddamn cabbage and shit. Like,
it's like a splash guard or like a sneeze guard.
Like I would prefer you never touch my cabbage in the first place too. But
don't touch my cabbage.
That's not going to happen.
People, dare you touch my
people
cabbage?
pick up a tomato and squeeze it. Right, you pick up an onion, like, oh, the bottom of this is rotten. I'm putting it back down. Yeah. And no mask is going to stop anything like that from it's transferring.
Like, we've known from like a couple months in that it's not like hand to mouth transmission. Like,
it's respiratory.
It's not big particles dropping on something and then you touch like a mucous membrane or something like that. It's aerosolized particles. Yeah. And the biggest factor is proper HVAC that recycles the air.
Yeah. And then you see the old lady that like has trouble breathing, so she wears the visor.
Oh yeah.
The full-on face shield.
What the fuck
that does absolutely not other than spit. Like yeah.
Exactly. It's a spit guard.
So we got
what
a long time fan here, Lonesome Lenny.
Lonesome Lenny.
And Lonesome Lenny told us he had COVID 2 weeks ago.
Oh no.
He's 73 years old, if I remember correctly, Lenny. 73 years old. You're still here with us today.
How'd you do, Lenny?
Hell yeah,
how are you doing?
Lenny.
I'd like to know, like, you still feeling it? Yeah, you're sick for 5 days, but
he said like sick for 5 days 2 weeks ago. So he got better.
He says, I have no idea how I contracted COVID as I hardly go out and I wear a K95.
KN95,
yeah. Was sick for 5 days.
Yeah, so he's wearing the proper type of mask.
Yeah.
Hey, Lenny, are you clean shaven? And is that proper?
You had facial hair, didn't you, Lenny?
Yeah, you didn't shave that fucking beard, did you?
Dang.
Could be.
Dang, Lenny.
But I mean, there's so many variables.
You're fucking super spreader, goddamn it.
Right. So it could have been that one corridor you walked down or like you got in a cab or something, like anything odd.
Lenny, I got it from a fully vaccinated family who made me do a COVID test before I came over. So I was the only one that could prove I didn't have COVID. And it's like they're trying to kill me.
Well, yeah, isn't that the point? I can get rid of all the unvaccinated.
We got Andrew in the chat.
He wants to see a beer slam.
We can't do a beer slam.
See, in Andrew's live stream, there's a button. So people click the button, and he gets they pay him when they click the button.
He does video games.
A fucking Coke
yeah.
So I mean,
why don't you have a button?
No,
that's a Twitch thing.
Andrew, why don't I have a fucking button? I keep asking you to hang out.
They donate money when they hit the button.
Fucking button, bro.
Well, just donate to our Patreon and
you get a Patreon and donate and get extra stuff.
Make sure to buy the merch. It looks like Carhartt, but really it's not.
Link in description.
What's your podcast called?
The Crowded Room.
Yeah. These are Crowded Room bibs. Yeah. So
there we go.
Go ahead and hop online and buy some of those.
Lonesome Lenny says yes, 73, clean shaven, vaccinated, and boosted. Still got COVID
and wearing a mask religiously. The point is, you can't run far enough to get away from this thing. It's gone past pandemic. It's now endemic. We have to live with this, and there's no hiding.
Well, what was that one scientist that was talking about like? Where it was probably one of those controversial guys like Malone or fucking but I remember them talking about like how the vaccine will prime your immune system to maybe respond in the wrong direction. So like
the wrong direction.
Well, because basically the vaccine is like coded for like like a very small
spike
genetic
protein.
Yeah, for a very small portion of that spike protein. It's not the exact same spike protein. So every time there's like certain mutations, the vaccine is less and less able to actually respond in the proper direction.
Right.
Because you're constantly getting vaccines and boosters, as soon as your body recognizes some sort of spike protein, it's like, oh, this is the direction I need to respond. But really it needs to be going in like this direction. So it's almost like it gets a false start and then it has to restart, re-recognize what the virus actually is, and then start reproducing the proper antibodies and whatnot.
Because they don't have a dormant version of the virus itself yet.
It's almost like it primes you to it primes your immune system to respond in slightly the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, the attack's coming from over here, and it's like, oh shit, no, actually it's coming from over here. So
it sounds like the spike protein that they're injecting us with to bolster our defenses is actually like harming our bodies as well. Like
it's definitely harming. It's meant to mimic a virus, right? But in most vaccines, they have a dormant version of the actual thing, and in this one they don't.
That would be like live attenuated virus or whatever.
Right. You're fine.
So yeah, that would be like the live attenuated virus.
Right.
So it's like a dumbed down version of the virus. Like it's less viral, basically.
Hey, Davey, if you're watching right now, can you bring up some beers or whiskey?
Oh, Jesus.
That'd be nice. Putting in an order.
You'll get that in like 5 seconds.
Is Mark here too?
Because I could see myself, like when I ran downstairs to grab these, I could see myself on the TV still like getting up. I was like, hey, look at that handsome motherfucker up there. Right. Like, goddamn.
So Lonesome Lenny says, my doctor notified the clinic if I ran into difficulty to infuse with monoclonal juice because of my age and health issues, but I did okay.
Right on,
fucking good job, bud. Like super happy to hear that.
Chalk that one up to your booster and all that.
Cheers for
Lonesome Lenny.
Fucking 73 years old and kick COVID's ass. Fuck yeah, boy.
Yeah, so anyone under goddamn 30 that's worried about this should fucking shake their head a little and look at Lenny.
That's the craziest thing.
It's like over 60 that you have to be worried.
My God.
And even like then, kids. Like clearly not.
Why would you vaccinate kids? Like why force it on
kids? Yeah, I think vaccinate kids with a vaccine that doesn't last is like we'll just keep getting you over time. It's just like what the fuck?
That was another thing that's like okay, so it's like the spike protein is inflammatory and like I guess it could be like considered toxic, and we know that it settles like more so in like men's hearts and women's ovaries.
Women get affected much worse.
So it's like we have no idea what the spike protein settling in the ovaries is going to do over time.
We have so many uncertainties.
We don't know over time. I remember hearing that there was like some rat studies and it's like the rats had like 6 times more miscarriages. So it's like, okay, if that's in like rats, like shouldn't this be like something that we need to talk about and maybe like actually pay attention to?
So that's exactly how you get fired from global TV. So there's a woman there who was the director of the news. She worked there for 20 fucking years. And they canned her because a doctor got fucking fired or whatever, like lost his license for talking about it. So she was like, well, what's going on? Did some investigating journalism and they canned her because she was looking into why there's so many miscarriages when this doctor had already been debunked and all. She's like, well, why the fuck is all this happening to him if what he's saying is wrong? You know, like, like why are they going like so hard on this guy? You know, like why is he like willing to put his career on the line in order to like get this information out there? So she looked into it, gets fired after 20 years working for that company, and so she's at the head of some of these protests, especially in like Vancouver and stuff. And to hear her story,
Vancouver even protesting?
Absolutely. No, but it's like
I feel like
from Prince George convoy.
It's much less.
People from Prince George convoy down to Vancouver, and then there's a protest down there.
I feel like Vancouver's so liberal that they all just fucking buy into this garbage.
There's also counter protests. Like, there was a one protest for like the Native Americans that went and pulled that statue down. Didn't get coverage at all, really.
Wait, what's that? I didn't hear about that at all.
There was this statue of an old, I believe it was a priest or something that had done really horrible things to Native Americans back in the day, and they'd been petitioning to have this statue taken down for years, and they weren't being listened to, and then they finally made a protest or they finally like got people rallied together and they went and tied ropes around it and pulled the statue down, and no one really televised it or anything. And it was just kind of clouded by all this COVID protests. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like one thing with the vaccine, to get back on that point, and that it also ties into like the whole spike protein, and that makes me wonder, because it's like, okay, so we know that the spike protein can cause inflammation in the heart. Like it basically, the spike protein itself is inflammatory. And when you get a vaccine, it basically gets your body to produce a variation of the spike protein, but just the spike protein itself, even a variation of it, is also inflammatory. So it's like you get a vaccine, you've injected this stuff that's now inflammatory. So I don't know if you know about one of our all-star fucking soccer players is he's been benched because of myocarditis.
One of the many.
Yeah, but they say it's because he got COVID. But the thing is, it's like maybe it is because he got COVID.
Because it's the same spike protein.
But also he was fully vaccinated, but it's like it's the spike protein. So it's like you get COVID, so you've got some spike protein, it inflames your heart. Then you get a vaccine, now it gets more. Now you get another vaccine, now it's inflaming your heart again. And I remember McCullough talking about how like it takes at least 6 months to clear the spike protein out of your system. So now they want you to take a vaccine every 6 months. So it's like your body can never get rid of this inflammatory thing. So you're constantly producing this inflammatory substance that's constantly attacking your body. And it's like, you know what, if you took it once, maybe not an issue. Take it twice, all right, maybe not that bad. But like if you have to take it constantly and repeatedly till the end of fucking time, and it's constantly attacking your body.
That's not a real vaccine.
And it doesn't, but like the thing is, and it doesn't change anything. Vaccine, you don't have, like, you're not allowed to stop wearing masks. You still have all these fucking restrictions. It's what's the point if it's just damaging you every time?
What do you mean? You don't believe in science?
Yeah,
bro. I fucking hate science.
Are you retired?
I can't stand science.
Science is like a religion these days.
Like if you're into science, like, oh my god, what a fucking nerd!
What a fucking loser. No, but you know, one thing.
I'm just kidding. I love science. Science.
One thing that came out about the vaccine, or so I've heard, is that it accelerates cancer growth because I want to say they're called T cells. I could be completely wrong about that, but the cells that regulate that there's like one for however many other cells, and they kind of like they detect cancer and they try to like repress. They try to fight cancer and stuff like that, right? So those
are just white blood cells, I think.
No, they're not just the white. No,
excuse my ignorance.
There's actual like cells. Think of them as like a supervisor cell. Like there's just one every once in a while that like take care of, regulate these things. Try to, anyways. So they're saying that these cells get completely fucked up from this vaccine, and so they're basically like rendered useless. So people's cancer starts accelerating like 300%. Like cancer deaths went up 300%. That's what they're saying. And people who were in remission, fucking their cancer just came right out. And people who were like in cancer battles, just all of a sudden it went like they were winning, and then boom. And
that's sad.
My mom was potentially one of those people because she was the audience. Man, she was killing it. She was kicking cancer's ass. All the shit was going down.
And your mother was very healthy.
She got double, and then she got double vaccinated. And I didn't even think of it at the time. After the second dose, all of a sudden it's like, oh, by the way, your cancer is like so aggressive now that you're going to die in a month.
Right.
Like out of nowhere.
So I remember your mother started losing weight, like getting very healthy. Did cancer have something to do with that? Do you suspect?
No, that was before cancer.
Yeah, because she was like
for like 2 years she did like she called it lazy keto.
Yeah,
she was like eating healthy. She had her own
got
diet
like
figured out.
Really skinny, which like
in a healthy way too.
But in retrospect, you're like, oh, that sounds like a symptom of cancer. But no, she wasn't ill at all. She was just doing very well with her diet.
Once she got healthy, then she got cancer.
Yeah.
Well, I remember you. There was like that small congressional hearing or something like that. There was like a couple congressmen. This was in the States, and was it congressman or Senate? I can't remember exactly. Sorry. But basically one of the oncologists was just like, we are seeing an increase in fucking cancer.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
basically
I
we're
video, right?
yeah, you showed me that.
That's what I was referencing.
And basically, like they were like these doctors and other people that were against, vaccine mandates and whatnot were like basically going off about like, we need to know what the fuck is in these vaccines because we're seeing an increase of myocarditis, we're seeing an increase in cancer, we're seeing an increase in all these things, but we don't know what the fuck is in these vaccines because you won't release the information.
And they didn't want to release it for 75 years.
No, it's perfectly safe. We just need 75 years before we can, because like the thing is, we can't like put together the data fast enough for you guys. We need 75 years to do that. And it's like, okay, if you can't fucking put the data together in less than 75 years, how did you review that data and approve it?
And but the CDC came out and said they won't release their data because it can be misconstrued.
Yeah, that's for the age group from 18 to 49.
Basically saying that you're too dumb to understand our data.
Not just too dumb. They're trying to say that like, it might the way they put it was it might give people doubt in vaccine. There's something along those lines.
Yeah.
It wasn't just misconstruing it. They said it might.
They said it might be misinterpreted and it might contribute to vaccine hesitancy.
Contribute to vaccine hesitancy. That's what they said, and of course it will. That's why they wanted 75 fucking years, because then they're all dead by the time that
you're not allowed to talk about it because it's misinformation. But we can't give you the information because you might misinterpret it.
That's right.
Because you, the populace. You guys are dumb.
Yeah,
all of you.
That's what they're saying.
Right.
That's what they're fucking saying.
And I'm including myself in that.
As the populace, we're entitled to informed consent before taking anything.
Since when?
Anything at all. That's.
Are you talking about like the Nuremberg Code?
Yeah, exactly. You're
that's ridiculous.
You're allowed to know what the hell's going into your body, but then all of a sudden,
Andrew's like, I'm dumb as fuck.
Yeah, basically. Thank you, Andrew. Why don't you drink a beer and tell us you did it afterwards?
Yeah. Lonesome Lenny says, I hope I dodged that bullet several years ago. I had 45 rounds of radiation for advanced prostate cancer. Dude, you are a fucking champion. What the fuck, man?
You're fucking knocking down everything that's coming at you.
Several years ago. Shit. So like, man, like
modern
in your
day
60s,
fucking World War II vet here.
You're killing it, man. Yeah,
that's nuts.
That's our best fan, man.
Yeah, so far, Lenny, you inspire. You should do your podcast, Lenny. Yeah. Honestly,
until Andrew shotguns a beer for us, you're number one, Lenny.
Yeah, thank you, Lenny. And trust me, even after that was a little silly.
Of course, that was silly.
All right,
you don't take me too seriously, do you, Lenny?
But no, we appreciate
Rule
it, Lenny.
Number one, don't take anybody too seriously.
Absolutely. Especially me.
Let's hopefully I hit the right one. No, boo. There we go. For Lenny. Anyways, you have got some crazy stories to tell us. And one day I would love to do a Skype interview with Lenny.
We're gonna do that. We're actually gonna
we got to make a Skype
met him.
account.
He's from Manhattan.
Oh yeah.
And
no. He's from Massachusetts.
I started with an M.
It's somewhere in the States. We don't know fucking states.
Manhattan is New York. Right?
Yeah, that's
no, he's
south of Boston.
He's just south of Boston. Yeah. My bad, Lenny. My bad. I'm just a Canadian.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's one of the only people that we don't know that watches us that like found us organically.
Oh yeah.
So
it's not our fault, bro. We literally just got internet up here.
Yeah, basically.
Before that, had to ride the old moose on the treadmill to get some electricity. Right?
Matt just got us electricity in our house.
Yeah. Trudeau won't let us have internet. Apparently, it's it's an emergency and a national crisis. So
finally got a house. I was living in an igloo just up the street before this.
Yeah, can you remember playing Xbox in your igloo?
Yeah, dude, it would melt the walls. It would get warm and melt the walls.
Yeah. But although it never overheated.
No, but because we were in an igloo, though.
Yeah.
Someone needs to start a Bitcoin farm in an igloo.
There you go.
I remember telling people that when we were like fucking kids playing like Halo Online, and they actually fucking believed you. And it's like, no offense to guys in the States.
Sorry about that, Lenny.
But fucking they would be like, yeah, man, we're playing Xbox in our igloo right now. It's like, no way. It's like, seriously, it's like you're a fucking retard. Like, oh wait, I'm not allowed to say that. My bad. I take that back.
Yeah,
I guess we cut out for
allegedly. No, I think Lenny. I think he's talking about our last episode where we were losing internet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
so far,
that is right. Yeah. Every
so
time we tried
far,
to start one, it would get all messed up.
Yeah.
Oh shit! So I wasn't even that far off the buck.
No.
Lenny says, "I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I'm gonna have a beer." Well, we're having one with you.
Fuck
No, that's
yeah,
what
Lenny.
Lonesome
Oh,
Lenny
that's
said.
Lonesome Lenny. Thank you, Lenny.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
join the
cheers
club.
to Lenny again.
Yep. Hey, another cheers. Attaboy.
Davy's clearly not watching the podcast because
No.
I didn't get any
There's
fucking
no beer
beer.
request. Davey,
Damn it.
Davey, hello, Davey.
Give Mark a text. They're obviously yakking or something.
Hey, Mark.
No, don't yell. Don't yell.
Yeah, I'll grab you one. I gotta go pee anyway.
Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd actually like to know how much coverage of these Canadian politics is Lenny seeing in Boston there? Because it's been going a little crazy lately. A lot of these emergency acts have been brought into permanent law.
A couple of them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They straight up
wrong.
froze people's bank accounts just for donating to a GoFundMe account.
And I believe the power that they kept was the ability to do that stuff.
Yeah. And the idea is that we're funding terrorists.
Yeah,
that's what they call it.
And not only that, the guy who drove through the protesters in Winnipeg, tried to kill them,
is gone free.
Is out of jail on bail. And the woman who had organized the protests, who never hurt anyone, never laid a hand on anyone, she is denied bail and stuck in prison. Like
stuck in prison
terrorist.
When they're letting out actual
people who attempted
sexual assault people who are condemned. I forget the word I'm looking for. Sorry.
Brutal. Well, look at what happened with Cain Velasquez in the States.
Yeah, that one's an odd one. I don't know if you guys know Cain Velasquez. He was a heavyweight champion about 10 years ago.
One of the best.
Found out that his daughter has been getting molested. Daughter.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was son.
No, his daughter's been getting molested over like hundreds of times.
Over 100 times.
And from the son of the lady that he hired to watch his daughter as like a daycare. But the son is like 40 plus years old, kind of thing. And a video came out today of it. I didn't get to watch the video, but he chased them down in a high-speed chase.
I heard.
Shot at the car, shot the wrong person.
Shot his dad.
He shot the wrong person in the car.
Shot the guy's dad who was helping him flee, by the way. Helping that little fuck.
And he is now not the victim. He is getting charged for attempted murder.
Now the person who did the bad stuff is the victim.
Right. And I mean, every single parent sits there and says, hey, if that ever happened to my kid, I'd do the same thing. And push came to shove, the guy did it, and nobody's really standing up for him, other than people going on Twitter going, ooh, free Cain.
I mean, aside from protests happening,
right?
I mean, what else?
I didn't see anything about a protest.
No. I'm not saying there was. I'm saying
just virtual
protest. A protest for there's not much else they could do, right? The fact that all these big name people are putting out like paragraphs and pictures and all that stuff.
Well, the individual can't do much, but the judicial system can.
Like Killin came out and was like, dude, I've known this guy forever, like super nice guy. And he's like,
thank you.
He basically says like, I think we all would have done the same thing that he did if we, were given the opportunity.
Well, that's just it. And I mean, sitting around in a circle like this, everyone does say, oh, I would do that or worse kind of thing. And I mean,
look at this. We got hacked by the Chinese bots.
That's a Japanese flag, I think.
Yeah, but holy.
No, those are Chinese.
What is going on here, dude? The Chinese have found us. We talk about vaccines way too much.
Bro,
it says Hong Kong.
Dude,
you can tell it's Chinese.
Shit. What the fuck is going on here, dude?
Can we block that guy?
Is this like a normal thing? Look,
I don't. Name is Japanese, but then he looks like he's spelling in Chinese.
Hey, remember, normally when we do podcasts, random people will comment.
Yeah, they're usually Russian.
It'll be gibberish with like a period in the middle. Like,
sorry, Lenny.
Lenny's like, what the fuck?
Lenny's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Lenny. I don't know. I think we just got hacked by Russian bots.
If anyone can read Japanese, we can use your
Chinese
help right
bots,
now. Yeah.
Honestly, we can't tell the difference between the symbols. So
I can.
Yeah,
his name is Japanese.
Right,
you can tell because the Chinese looks like a bowl of noodles and the Japanese looks like a loose bowl of noodles. And then Korean.
So his name's Japanese.
That's scientific right there.
Korean is the same thing with circles in the letters.
Yeah.
When I went to Asia, like there was options of putting the subtitles in all these.
I always pictured it as like Chinese is more like square and like block.
Yeah. Noodles.
Whereas like
big block of noodles.
Japanese is more flowy.
Yeah.
It's like
So
more
that's
flowy.
why I
See,
said
that's
Chinese,
what
'cause it
his
looks like
name
blocks.
I would consider Japanese, but the letters look
They
Chinese.
look pretty Chinese.
I don't
know.
They're
He-
pretty square, like blocky. Like,
Yeah.
He's just spamming us in fucking wingdings as far as I can see.
Oh yeah.
Hey, you
Actually,
guys-
that's our biggest Chinese
Yeah.
fan, and we have
Get
to
some
get big in China.
sensitivity training
You have
in
to
your
respect
ass.
China.
Yeah. We got
Dude, we got to get big in China.
we got
We're
Chinese
sorry.
influencers
We're
too.
sorry,
Oh, yeah.
sir. Whatever you said, we respect it. Tell your friends.
And-
And
Yeah.
Copy,
Chong.
copy, paste John Cena apology.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Shushin.
Yes.
Shishimi.
Jesus, what a pussy.
When I was in the
Wait,
Chinese
that was probably more
airport,
racist than anything else.
no, seriously, when I was in the Chinese airport, they'd be going off, and apparently is N-word. Like I don't want to drop it, but
just
with
did. You
with
just
an
did.
A at the end.
Dude, no wonder Justin Trudeau
I'm
says it all the time.
No, with, yeah, with an A at the end. But then
Yeah.
you'll just be hearing the overhead, the commentator, whatever, the PA, and he'll be dropping N-bombs left and right
No way.
in the middle of Chinese words. Yeah,
Really? Like
they-
on purpose, or it just sounds
it's
like
the Chinese version of kind of thing, or so, that's what I've heard. But I'm not lying. You'll just be sitting there and be like, "Jing da da da," and then just like dropping, dropping N-bombs in the middle of this, and you're just like, "Whoa!" Looking around your shoulder, like, "Are you serious?" Yeah, that was an experience. But the one thing, because I went to Korea, the one thing you can tell about the Korean language is they're the only one that have perfect circles in their letters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So you'll
There is
be
differences
able to
in them,
decipher
and
it
that's
that
why I
way.
said Chinese. Like you said, is blocky, and it even says Hong Kong right there.
At the bottom, so we can
Well,
take
so is
that.
that the Hong
yeah.
Kong flag then?
No,
No, that's
the
a Japanese flag.
That's like a take on.
Well, Japanese is just a red circle on a
with
white
the
field.
rays.
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
a take on it, but there's a
That-
Japanese poster that shows something like that.
I feel like that maybe like old imperial Japan flag.
Anyways,
either way, there's
welcome-
it's a bot.
Japanese bot that likes to troll us.
Our new biggest fan, Lonesome Lenny, has some competition. Is it you or the fucking China bot?
Yeah, give us some of that Chinese money.
Yeah.
Either way, if we could read that, we'd shout you out, bro.
Yeah. Xi Jinping,
Andrew, if
You
you're
are
still
amazing.
listening, I'll chug my beer.
definitely not Winnie the Pooh at all.
If we can get some more
At
comments,
all.
we need to bury this guy though.
Yeah, we need to get his comments out of here. So if you're watching, give us a what's up. I'd love to see who's actually in here. It never actually tells us.
If anyone's actually
Unless you're
listening.
saying hi,
I know it's
we have
Friday
no
night.
idea you're here. So
It's Friday night and it's
Excuse
damn
me.
near midnight on
Yeah.
the East Coast, and we can only ask so much of YouTube.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
free.
Lenny, give us a quick spam here and get rid of all that Chinese shit.
yeah, dude, where's all our other fucking
no, we go to two.
listeners, dude? Where's
Oh, shit.
Andrew? Where's your girlfriend? Where's Cassandra? Fucking
They're out doing stuff on their own. They're
What?
doing Friday
Jeez.
I
things.
think they have lives.
Yeah.
she's not allowed to
Oh,
fucking not watch our podcast.
I know, I
She's-
know.
She's our third biggest fan.
Yeah.
don't we need like baking done for like?
I
tomorrow or
know.
something?
Let's go.
Sandra, why
Just
aren't you in the
kidding, just
kitchen
kidding.
listening to us?
I mean, women can do whatever they want.
She should
Just
be in the
joking.
kitchen
After
listening
the
to
baking's
podcast.
done.
We just got another like, boys. So keep going.
Hopefully that was the Japanese guy.
This crowd likes misogynist shit. All right.
You're going to our podcast every Friday, same time. Actually, Lenny, I was just saying yesterday, we were kind of silly to pick Friday because, as much as I love doing this on Fridays, a lot of the times, Friday is when things are happening. So, I think to pick a day that won't get fucked up as much, I think Thursday would be
Thursday
A
might be
better
better, but we still should pick that day and then come on Friday and make everyone know that it's that day.
and that's what we're doing now. If you didn't know, this is the Crowded Room Podcast with Alex and Jer. Got Matt on
Oh, and
today.
Matt.
We
If
are
you're
here
just
to tell you
entering.
that from now on, this is the Thursday night podcast, not a Friday night.
Sure, yeah.
podcast. We just decided that kind of right now. Talked about it yesterday.
Thursday night, but then what about Tuesdays, right? And all that.
And that's just it. We'll show up from time to time, anytime. But I think the one day that we'll be consistent with, because we like to do that.
We need one consistent day so that everyone can kind of meet us.
Every podcast we do, aside from our consistent day, is a bonus for you guys.
There we go. Okay, so Thursday at
probably 8 to 9 o'clock.
Right. For him, that's midnight,
9.
right? So it'd be nice to do earlier than 8 or 9.
Or
yeah, 7 o'clock. Thursday at 7. Next week we'll make a point.
Yeah, buddy.
Next week we'll make a point of Thursday.
Hell yeah! Oh, we got 3 likes. Holy shit, man!
Where do you see that?
Holy shit, man! Right top left there.
One time we got 10 likes.
Oh,
dude, one time we got 10 likes.
No fucking kidding,
dude.
Holy
we damn near beg for them.
Yeah.
We're like, guys,
hey,
please.
everybody, like and subscribe. It'll be in the description down below. I don't know.
They're already subscribed. They wouldn't know we're here.
We actually had a pretty good one time. We're up to like 13. It's always wrong. There's always more than
it's always delayed.
It said like 13, and we had like over 10. Like, damn, we were killing it that night.
Yeah,
and that was without Oz too, right?
I don't know, honestly. That was a while ago.
Oz was our
Oz episode was definitely our biggest one.
We can't shut up about that guy. Every time we talk about him, we get views.
Yeah. It's too bad. Oz is gone.
Yeah. That was a good
views are suffering.
Hit those likes if you want Oz to come back and hit up another podcast.
Dude.
If we get 100,000 likes, we will bring Oz back.
I don't know if Oz is coming back.
Hey, Alex, shut your fucking mouth, okay?
Oz wants to come back. But eventually we'll do an actual interview with this guy here. He just showed up out of the blue tonight, so he's part of the podcast.
Where we kind of write some questions down
to ask him about some serious stuff.
I'm only here to quickly drink their beer and then
take off when it's gone. Yeah.
Once this conversation gets boring and the likes stop rolling in, I'm outie.
Yeah, but, the likes, don't get used to the likes.
Bro, I am hooked on those likes now. Like, I'm fucking focused laser beam on that thumb.
They are
I want that thumb
they are
press.
Fuel on the fire, bro.
That's a weird part of social media. It makes you it's kind of like high school where you're like, oh, kids like me. Like,
no, it's like when the teacher put a star on your paper.
Yeah.
It's like you want more stars, man. They actually I was listening to this thing. They did a study where if you start giving these kids stars for doing well and then stop, they get depressed. They're addicted to it. They need it. It's like a little fucking shiny star. It's like if they didn't get that, it doesn't matter that they got 100%.
Maybe that's my problem. If I get 96%,
you haven't gotten enough stars.
There's no fucking star on my fucking paper.
But you know what it relates to is recognition. They could write good job. That probably has something to do with it too, right?
Yep.
I think it's just recognition for hard work.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I don't know.
Because now I feel like
everybody think about that for a sec.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
what do you think,
I was like, never hear anything good at work. It's always just, what you did wrong. You never hear good job. I was like, it'd be nice to hear a good job every now and then.
Every time they try to give me shit at work, I'm like, you never fucking say anything nice. I do all this good shit, and you want to make a big deal when I do something wrong.
Yeah. Now you're gonna bring that up.
I do something right, no one gives a fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I just made you fucking $50,000, but you know what? You're gonna point out that one fucking thing that oh fuck you.
Yeah.
Fucking haven't heard a thank you here in years. You're gonna give me shit about this?
Yeah, man. I always make sure I tell my apprentices they're doing a good job when they're doing a good job.
Me too.
Otherwise, I just come in and correct them, and then I'm just like, other than that, keep up the good work. Like,
fuck yeah,
I appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
But it's like fucking, I don't know. Like, I feel like that's the biggest thing, or not the biggest thing, but a big thing in trades is no one ever actually says anything complimentary to anybody else.
Yeah, man.
It's always just oh, you're not doing this right. You're not working hard enough. You're not working fast enough. I got this one apprentice right now that everybody just complains about. It's oh, he's too slow. He doesn't do this right. Do this right. And I'm just like, hey man, fucking fire your cables this way, staple it this way, blah blah blah. And he's like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I was like, has no one fucking told you that before? He's just like, no. It's like, okay, so people are basically just here's an apprentice, and it's go do this, and then they fuck it up, and it's why'd you fuck it up? And it's I don't know how to do it. No one's fucking told me how, and they're trying to figure it out. And it's just man, everybody just complains about people, and no one actually fucking teaches anybody anything. It's retarded.
Yep. Fucking, you can
No one
teach
wants
people
to
all you want.
invest
They're still gonna
time.
fucking put staples through your fucking air hose.
Or your water lines. Yeah.
Or water. I was calling him out, and then he's calling me out.
No.
You're not allowed to be on this podcast.
Yeah.
Fuck.
No, that's funny.
That's
shit.
because I know
Funny
the dirt.
story. No, I'll tell this story. His mom had some insurance work done, and she's like, I want Jared to do the floor. So she made sure I was there to do the floor. I didn't realize she had the in-floor heat and started
Water heat.
Yeah, water pipes like everywhere. And I stapled down on my subfloor, and it went through and punctured those pipes. And
The fuck is this water pissing out?
Like, why is this wet still after I patched it? I'm like, this part won't dry for some reason, and this part. And then so eventually we realized what happened, and they're like, well, like, how did you not see that?
Radiant heating, yeah.
Guess what? When I worked in that house, I'm like, okay, like,
Well, wait, don't incriminate yourself now.
No.
Allegedly,
because the fucking
the
general contractor should have told you that there's fucking in-floor water heat.
So listen to this. Not only did he not tell me, but when I first came in there, the area where all the in-floor heat comes up and you see it all, that's the laundry room.
Mm-hmm.
And there was someone from that company working there, and I called the fucking PM, and I was like, this guy's in my way. I need him out of there. I have to put a subfloor in there. And he fucking yelled at me. He yelled at Tim at the shop. He's like, just fucking do it. Do what you could do, blah, blah. And I was like, I was upset because I was like, that's not right. I need to get in that area. Had I gotten that area, I would have seen all that stuff. The washer and dryer were stacked like a tower. So I couldn't see back there. It was pushed off to the side. There was someone working in there. Anyways.
Oh, yeah. If it's moved over, it's blocking like the boiler and all the fucking valves.
That's why I said that.
Yeah.
So, and so, like, literally, like, buddy's like, how did you not see it? I'm like, dude, remember that area I wanted to get in and you told me to go fuck myself? Well, now you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, man.
Well,
like,
then they were trying to get mad at my mom. They're like, oh, you should have told the floor layer and blah,
yeah,
blah,
it's
blah.
not her job at all. No.
Bro, you're the fucking project manager. It's your job to fucking organize this shit.
Yeah, dude. That guy. And so, anyways, Matt's mom got everything brand new.
Oh, they fucked so much more shit up too.
But she still gets everything brand new.
Man, they were like fucking up like the kitchen cabinets as they were taking them out, and she's like, "You guys have to fix that. Like, you can't just
pictures though.
You can't just break it as you take it out and then put it back and be like, yeah, that's brand new." You're like, yeah, it's an insurance redo. It's like
a lot of people would have just let that slide. I told her, I said, if they fuck anything up, take pictures and don't fucking sign anything. I've seen people wait 2 years and they go fucking above and beyond for people who don't deserve it.
Yeah.
If they fucked your shit up, hold out till they actually fix it.
Oh yeah, she's still waiting on a few items that they have to come back and fix.
Yeah, and it's funny, like, yeah, fucking, they hate customers like that just want what's right.
Oh yeah, and my mom,
plus it's an insurance
she'll
thing.
fucking do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's just fun working with your mom because I know she's gonna be that person, and I'm giving her all the ammo she needs to be that. She called me sometimes like, I'm about to talk to Clinton. Yeah. Like, what do I need to know? Like, okay, don't tell him.
It's like the type of person that'll either be like your best friend or your worst enemy, and you just fucking hate her. But it's like,
I'm on a good side.
Like, hey, it's my mom. I love her.
Hell yeah, I'm on the right side of that.
I want the best for my mom.
Hell yeah, me too. Fuck yeah.
Well, especially it's like, man, you can't just break shit as you fucking take it out and then be like, oh yeah, we're just gonna put it back. It's like you broke it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't you how to use, like, you don't know how to take it apart properly? Like,
well, these companies hire people and pay them the bare minimum. They hire unexperienced people. They'll hire anyone, pay them the bare minimum to move stuff. They're like, well, we can pay any idiot to move stuff. Well, yeah, and then that any idiot wrecks shit while he's moving stuff, you know, whether he doesn't box things up properly and things get wrecked, or they run into shit.
And you can't just buff a scratch out of fucking cabinets or something.
They don't
know.
care.
Well, especially when it's MDF and it breaks off. It's like, what are you gonna do? Re-melamine it? You fucking patch it and then melamine it over.
I've shown up to a job like after going home for the night and there's a scratch there and I'm like, hey, we did not do this kind of thing. Like,
I got blamed
for the homeowner did that.
I got blamed for scratching some guy's fucking Mac toolbox at Honda once. And it's he's got his big fucking toolbox in front of the electrical panel that I need to get at. It's on wheels. I just rolled it out and then fucking took the panel apart, did what I needed to do, rolled it back. Mm-hmm. And then there's like blah blah, your guy fucking scratched up and like dented this guy's fucking toolbox, blah 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 blah. And it's like, what? I was like, I don't know how. And then they fucking sent pictures of it, and the scratches were rusted.
Yeah.
I was like, I did that work 2 days ago.
It is rusted.
I was like,
and they're
those
trying to run
scratches
you.
would not have rust in them. It's like, yeah, it's chipped through the paint and indented. I was like, but that wasn't me. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
We're doing a nightmare job right now that's been over 15 months, I think, so far. And the house has been built for 9 months.
Jesus.
Yeah, but the lady just won't pay up the entirety of it. She's paid most of it, but she's still withholding a lot of it because like waiting for deficiencies to come through. And there are some deficiencies that we got to do and stuff, but it has never been a house that's taken almost 2 years kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's outrageous.
That is outrageous. And imagine an insurance job where you're just replacing a couple things, taking a couple years.
And the problem with insurance is nobody wants to really like put in full effort. They just want to like make their money and get out of there kind of thing.
Yeah. I just finished. I won't call it a nightmare job. It's a nightmare job in the sense that it was mentally taxing. But now that I've done it, and in the future charge a bit more money for it, man, it's one of those things. It's like, I can do this. I don't know how many people how many other people can do this. Yeah. Oh yeah. So
you can show the camera. People are probably worried.
They're probably worried. Let's see here. So guys, this is what I'm talking about. I just did this.
So Jared does tile and flooring. Basically finishing carpentry.
That's what's called a herringbone backsplash or herringbone pattern.
Finally. And he just did the backsplash here.
Yeah. And so I did the tiles. There's another wall here, another wall here. It took me 2 days to put all the tile on, another day to grout it and silicone it all. But
right.
Wow, what an experience. Like
it was nightmarish. First time doing herringbone or what?
Second time. The first time I did it was when I worked for someone still. We did like this frame, like imagine like behind your stove.
Yeah.
And you frame it, and then you have that pattern in the middle of all that. And everything around it is like
I've seen stuff like that before.
So we did that. It's even like next level compared to that. That was just a huge fucking job. So this time I was like, I could do that. And then I'm like, okay, how am I going to do this? I haven't done it in fucking 8 years.
Easy, don't worry about it.
But I figured it out.
Perfect tiles to do that too, because it'll compound and like it'll get out of.
Once I started putting the full tiles together, like because first I had to start with just the angles. I had to get kind of like a W line going across, but then in each like V-shaped part, you start doing full tiles. And
you get like a protractor out, make sure your angles are right. We're like, hey, this is 45 degrees this way, 45 degrees this way.
Yeah, I actually have like an old school tape measure. ProSol gave out these old school tape measures like last summer, and it's like it's this thick, and I think of like a meter stick that folds up into like pieces this big, like about a foot long, but it all folds out, and when you fold it,
I remember those meter sticks.
Yeah, and when you fold like the top piece out, it has an angle angle gauge. So I just put it to 45. I can hook it on the edge of my tile. I can extend it.
Beauty.
It's actually, even though it's an old school style of tool, it's actually very, very helpful right now.
Hey man, that's how the pyramids are built. Okay.
Yeah, dude. They made that out of copper.
Yeah, millions of slaves and just brass chisels chiseling away at that fucking stone.
Pyramids were built before gravity was discovered, so it was a lot easier.
Before gravity was proven. Anyways.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You don't even need aliens. No. You just need pre-Isaac Newton.
Yeah. They're like, I swear there's some force making it harder to climb to the top of this pyramid and put these bricks up here. Yeah. They're like, no, keep fucking going.
Every year into the future, we get closer to gravity and it starts settling in. It's like, why do these get heavier?
I think something's holding us down.
We're closer to gravity.
No. No such thing as gravity.
Isaac, who?
That's hilarious. I fucking love that shit though, like all that old like ancient history stuff.
Yeah,
because like you got like I don't know, there's like all those like discrepancies. So you have like the Sphinx and like the Sphinx enclosure, which is basically the quarry that the Sphinx is like carved out of like limestone bedrock, and then like the rectangular carving that it's carved out of, basically like, you know, there's like sheer sided walls like all around it, and they used all of that limestone to build the Sphinx temple. And
there you go.
And basically, yeah, I noticed I was drifting away. I can hear it. Yeah, and fucking they used all that limestone to build the Sphinx temple, and fucking, but like the Sphinx enclosure around it, it's got all these vertical fissures. And it's like, you ask the geologist, like, what is that? It's like,
that's erosion.
That's water erosion. And it's like, okay, well, when was the last time it rained heavily in like in the Nile, like in that area? And it's like, oh, like 10,000 years ago.
There's a lot.
And it's like, okay, so how old's the Sphinx? And it's like, oh, it's 4,500 years old. And it's like, okay, so how does it have all this fucking water erosion in this thing that's fucking dug into fucking limestone bedrock? How does it have water erosion all around it when it hasn't fucking rained heavily enough there, and it's hundreds or thousands of years of rainfall to cause that amount of water erosion?
More so than that, there's if you back map or backlog the star maps, 12,500 years ago, the Sphinx was pointing directly at the constellation Leo. And this all comes from a book from Graham Hancock called Fingerprints of the Gods.
And then
that I read a while ago. And at the same time, there's other places in like Aztec kind of culture that have the same things kind of pointing towards Orion's belt and stuff like that. That all map towards about 12,500 years ago.
Yeah, but the thing is, okay, so here's one thing that's really crazy is the Egyptians themselves, in one of their accounts, I can't remember who fucking studied this, but they actually have dates going back like 35,000 years of pharaohs.
Okay,
and that procession, like that's the procession of the Earth or whatever.
Equinox,
So it's like the Earth's wobble or whatever.
Yeah.
So it lines up to 5,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago or something like that. But then it also lines up to 35,000 years ago, because the precession of the Earth is 25,000 years. So
that,
10,000 years ago it would have lined up,
and there's
but
no
also
way to know.
it would have lined up 35,000 years ago. And if that is significant, then it's like, okay, so it's either at least 10,000 years or it's 35,000 years. But then you also have like the Egyptians themselves saying that they have fucking datings back 35,000 years for all their pharaohs. And it's like, like there's more to this fucking story.
Well,
like,
there's a lot
we keep
more.
finding human remains that are related to us as a species that are how old? You know what I mean? Like,
well, you got Göbekli Tepe, which is in Turkey, I believe.
Yeah,
and that's been dated to around the 12,000 years old, and it was like deliberately buried. And you have all these underground cities
and
that
when
are like
was it deliberately buried?
They
like,
can't. Well, all that's
you can't.
That's how they can
date rock.
Yeah, that's how they date it, is because the soil was filled in around 10,000 years ago.
And they can find some things in the soil that you can carbon date, but you can't carbon date rock because it came from the Big Bang, basically.
Yeah. But like, well, yeah, it's always like molten recycled through the earth and whatnot. But like the thing is too, like you find all these underground cities. There's like over 200 underground cities, and some of them can house like tens of thousands of people. And
underground cities,
ancient
underground cities.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they've been buried, or they built them.
No, they like tunneled into the earth.
No way, really?
And yeah, and they can't exactly date them, but it's like, you know, the pottery and stuff they find in them, they have a certain date for those. I can't.
What
tell.
area?
All over the world. Like lots in. I wish I could remember more specifically. God damn it! But
I'm in the middle of another book from Graham Hancock right now, America Before.
Oh,
and
okay,
it's predating American civilization to 30,000 years ago or so.
Yeah, there's like literally it was like over like 200 like of these underground cities, and some of them going to house up to like 50,000 people. And it's very, very complex with like air shafts and all this stuff to make sure that like people can actually breathe down there. And if you line that up with, you know, the 10,000, 12,000 years ago with like the Younger Dryas impact or whatever those theories are,
because you have the whole book is about.
Yeah, because you have like Robert Schoch, which thinks that it's like basically there was, you know, comets and everything, or asteroids or whatever. Like some of them hit the Earth, but also lots of them hit the sun, and it caused like the sun to go crazy and induce like this huge ionizing field, like basically like a massive coronal mass ejection. and
which
that's,
still happens.
Yeah, well, it happens all the time. But like if it's getting like if the sun's getting bombarded with like asteroids all the time, it's going to like throw things into flux. And basically like that's where he was saying like all those cave drawings that are like weird like Ant-Men and stuff like that. And then like basically there's a guy who's done studies on like plasma formations or whatever, and it takes the exact same forms that are drawn on like these cave walls and like all like these cave paintings and stuff like that. I think so. It's like, okay, if people were more advanced, you got fucked up, and then now they're trying to remember, but also you're digging underground cities, you're building massive structures like the pyramids
just to
and
survive.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
like because you have to be sheltered.
And stone lasts longer than anything else.
Yeah,
so
but it's like
the only way to
in stone.
Yeah, but like the underground cities really make sense, and they like if they date back to around that time, it's like you have this big catastrophe, and now everybody's starting to build underground because it's like it's not safe to be on the surface.
I think like, a coronal mass ejection will happen today.
It's like a vaccine, a coronal mass injection
happening today would cripple our society because it's basically a giant EMP.
Oh, it'd fuck us.
But
I could literally explain exactly how it would fucking ruin us.
In the 1800s, and we just didn't have such sophisticated electronics at the time to really be affected so hard.
It was like typewriters, and
that makes sense. Yeah, they're not going to wreck your typewriter.
Yeah,
no, it did.
Shit, it's not working.
No, it did. Really? And like,
well, it was like Morse code and stuff like that. It was telegraphs. That's what it was.
Morse code, like
they had telegraphs.
Not your fucking
typewriter. And there's reports
that makes sense because there's an electrical current that sends it, right?
There's reports of telegraphs being sent through even though there was no electricity, like no battery powering to anything, but it was just the kind of the airwave electricity going through.
Like what it is basically is it's ionized radiation. As it crosses through copper, it'll induce a current in that copper. So that's exactly how we produce energy now, is you have a copper coil and you run a magnet by it. And as that magnet spins by it, it creates a current in it. Because like magnetism and electricity are the same force. They go hand in hand. They're basically the same thing. Like they're one and the same. If you create electricity, you're creating a magnetic field. If you use magnetic field and run it by something magnetic, it's going to create electricity.
And that was the Tesla kind of... That was the Tesla kind of a hypothesis.
Well,
for how his coils worked.
Well, that's like that's the whole basis of it. Like he's the one who designed that. Like designed that concept. I can't remember. Edison maybe came up with DC, and then Tesla came up with AC. But basically, it doesn't matter whether you're using AC or DC. Like DC is just like it's constant, whereas AC constantly reverses.
I saw
okay.
This guy. He when he makes his like lasers and shit, he'll test it DC and AC to see which one works better. Not actually, sorry, not his lasers. When he makes like arcs and stuff like that, he likes to look at this fucking mic. He likes to.
Having a hard time?
I can't curve it around myself, but he likes to overpower things. So he takes like a mosquito, one of those electric fly swatters, and he overpowers it, and he tries to keep it intact, and then eventually there's a whole rod on it, and eventually he just gets rid of the whole thing, like recreates the whole thing, and it ends up being like a fucking like arc that he makes, and like
well, and you got to get to like hundreds of thousands of volts to make an arc like that, because like tens of thousands of volts, like I remember, what was it, in fourth year we pumped like 80,000 volts into just like regular house wire, and it took 80,000 volts for it to be able to push through the insulation and jump a gap like that.
Yeah. So this guy, like, he tells you straight up, he's like, this is dangerous. Don't do this.
Oh yeah.
The things that he has like power.
Well, if you fuck up, you're dead instantly.
Yeah.
Like
he'll make it, and he'll be like, if you touch that, you die. If you touch that and that, and there's no cage around it or nothing. He's like, if you touch any of this, you die. Don't dead. Make this.
Yeah.
But he'll recreate those things. And, you know, those little like balls, those orbs that have like the arcs going towards the glass.
Yeah.
He'll take one of those and overpower it. And there's a 2D version of it. It's like kind of a flat thing, and it's like, think of like a clock, and like the arcs go all over. And it's actually really, there's not much power behind it.
Oh, I think I've seen that 2D version.
Because of the things that are in it, they actually like amplify the way the arc looks, and it like it like
there'll be some sort of gas that allows it to travel through it
Actually, and so he overpowers these things and goes nuts with them, takes the fucking glass off for the fucking, for the orb thing. And anyways, it's really cool. And he'll be like, oh, I'm going to try it with AC. I'm going to try it with DC. Like, see which one works better.
Well, I mean, that's like basically how like fluorescent lights work. Like, basically, you have a tube and it's got metal on either side, and you pump voltage into it, and it's filled with, there's like a couple droplets of mercury. And as you pump voltage into it, I'm pretty sure, what is it? It takes like 120 volts AC, and then it turns it into like 1,000 volts or something like that. So it ionizes that fucking mercury in there and turns it into a gas. And then it starts, and then the fucking gas, as it's like energized, so like you have your electricity flowing through the gas now, like throughout the tube, it creates UV light, and then they put phosphor on the inside of the fluorescent tubes. So as that UV light penetrates through the phosphor causes the UV to turn into visible light. So that's how it makes
irradiates.
And that's how it makes actual visible light.
Yeah.
But that's how like tanning beds can give you like actually tan you. So it's like you have less phosphor coating, so it allows
I never thought of that.
It allows more UV light to come out, which gives you a tan.
That's also why those guys who fuck around with those long ass lights and jump on them, like smash them around.
It's fucking so bad.
Retard.
It's like literally there's mercury in there.
Dude,
that's why they died off, and you don't see that shit anymore.
Man, Superhuman, whatever the fuck his name is, he's still doing shit.
Superhuman.
Anybody need a drink right now?
No, I'm great.
I'm good. I gotta take off after this one though. I only
where you gotta go.
I figured I'd just come in and crash this. I was like, oh shit, they're throwing a podcast. I'm gonna fucking hop in there.
Who do you think you are, Joe Rogan?
What?
Yeah.
No, I'm
but
way
who do
better
we
looking
think
than
we
Joe
are?
Rogan.
Honestly, like we can't. Really
He's old and bald. I mean,
Rogan?
he can kick my ass, but come on now.
But he doesn't know shit about electricity.
Yeah, fuck you, Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I love you.
Lonesome Lenny says this podcast isn't only entertaining, it's educational.
Hell yeah, Lenny.
Hell yeah.
Let's cheers to Lenny one more time.
Cheers to Lenny, which is why
Lenny number one, buddy. Number one. Wait, that wasn't racist, I swear.
Yeah. Apparently, if Tesla would have got his way and got free electricity flowing through the air, we wouldn't have Wi-Fi. We wouldn't have a lot of the amenities that we have right now.
Yeah, I have heard a lot about that. One weird thing though is that his designs were very similar. Okay. So here's another really weird thing. Like back to the pyramids. The pyramids seem to have some sort of like resonance,
right?
Focusing, and they like focus.
I've heard
like,
this.
Focus some sort of like magnetic resonance,
as if it wanted to shoot something straight up. Hey?
No, it's almost like it focuses like out of the earth. But it's like the way back when they were built, there was a water aquifer and they ran water underneath the fucking like pyramids and whatnot. That's all these like underground shafts that extend hundreds and hundreds of kilometers.
Yeah.
But it's like no one's ever allowed to explore those. But also Tesla's wireless transmission thing was built over a water aquifer.
Okay.
So it's like there's all these similarities.
Interesting. Yeah.
But like I think it's an MIT study that focused on how the pyramids actually focus this resonance.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's like magnetic resonance or if it's like sonic, like sound. But there are so many things in the ancient megalithic constructions that amplify sounds and amplify all these these vibrations. So
there's
it's
so many weird little construction designs that you just don't understand. Like I used to diamond drill, and you see in I want to say Teotihuacan in Peru, you see like full on diamond drilled holes through the stone.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I've done blasting. So they drill a hole down.
It's like they core it. It's like it's
coring.
But they say they did it by hand with fucking copper.
How?
With sand, bro.
So
you put sand
blasting,
and water, and you
exactly.
Just,
but
go at it for 1,000 years.
So in mining, they do a blasting technique. They drill a hole real deep, and then they drop dynamite down the hole.
Yeah.
So then what I've came across seeing, because I just did exploration, the big boom throws rocks up into the ground, and then I see a big rock with a hole drilled right through it.
Mm-hmm.
Now that looks exactly like what you see from the Teotihuacan kind of sites there. You can't tell me that they didn't have an actual diamond drill process that did that.
Well,
Humans could not do that by
They
hand.
definitely had like some sort of like lathing. They definitely had something where they could spin it.
Right. And then you see walls of rocks that are like so perfectly met together, joined together.
Here's my hypothesis.
Hey, have a good night, Lenny. Thanks for tuning in.
Lenny's taking off.
Hey, peace out, buddy.
We should probably cut her short sometime here, but please finish your thought there, Matt.
Sorry.
So here's my hypothesis. Like there's so much to do with like sounds and reverberating and amplitude, like amplifying sounds. I wonder, and then you also see all those weird knobs on the side of those fucking stones.
Yeah.
Like there's always like just these random knobs.
And the H-shaped hinges.
And it's
stuff.
like, okay, so what if like everybody, like I know I've heard a couple people talk about like substances you can pour on the stone to make it more malleable.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, what if you had like a suction cup and it's like almost like a defibrillator? You put it on the stone and you send through a certain frequency that makes the stone just kind of settle into place.
Which stone?
So you like we're talking like megalithic structures.
Okay.
Like,
so like whatever Egypt.
Those sort of acoustic thing that has to do.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, so you have the stone cut roughly into the right shape. You set it in. You put these cups on it because they have these weird nubs on them. Like they're not always on the same side, they're not always visible, but you put the fucking cups on it, you vibrate the fucking stone, and it just kind of settles into place.
And they had makeshift batteries back then. Maybe they could have like figured something out to like give them a little vibration.
Like I don't know, but like I don't buy the whole like they just chiseled it with copper chisels.
With modern
just
tools.
Work forever.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, the thing is, it's pretty impressive the things that they've done. Are we talking about Egypt or just like
all
in general, all those crazy stones that you can't fit a fucking razor blade?
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's all over the world. It's like and the thing is, you look at those, and they're all like basically like the polygonal walls. Like they're all very much the same style, and it's all over the world. But nobody throughout the world had any contact because we weren't seafaring back then.
But
so it's like
one of the oldest ones is like they're all different sizes, different shapes, but they all fit together perfect.
And it's like they have little notches, and like everything's like notched around
like
everything.
They were wet when they put them together, and they just fit together like a glove.
Yeah,
you know what
I don't know.
It's crazy.
It's fucking weird, but it's like. But they say there was no cultures that were connected and blah 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 because like
they were all
traveled
kind of hunter gatherers that did this.
Yeah,
is what they're saying. Yeah.
Well, with Göbekli Tepe, they're like, oh, I guess hunter gatherers could do more than we thought.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, really? I thought hunter gatherers couldn't do that because they didn't have an excess of food, so therefore they didn't have an excess of specialization.
Right. But they could mine gold. They had fucking crazy gold.
Yeah,
right. But yeah,
my one buddy's theory is that like. He doesn't believe in anything crazy. Doesn't believe in religion. Doesn't believe in any conspiracy, aliens, nothing. Right?
Religion's not crazy, okay?
And it's
religion's serious. Right?
Anything that science can't like actually prove, he don't believe in it. And so, in his mind, he's just like, no, humans built that. And
that's the wrong one.
And this is his theory. He's like, you get someone who's really good at it, a bunch of them, and you get the first one to do it. He doesn't do it good enough.
You kill him.
And you kill him.
Yeah.
And then, okay, you're next. You better do a good job. And it's like, that's how you get to that point. He says.
The Nazis tried that and they lost. They hung the fucking slowest Jews and they still couldn't build rockets fast enough.
What you do is you keep the ones who could do it and you breed them with the women who could do it.
Oh.
And then you create super
like genetic
stone makers.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah,
no,
they
literally,
weren't smart enough to do that.
Like what I was saying before you left is I've seen rocks blown up from the ground that have been drilled through, and that it looks exactly like what you're seeing in these Peruvian sites, in the southern Mexico, Central American sites. Yeah. There is no friggin' way that there are like just spinning.
It wouldn't be that consistent for that long.
No, you can't do it without an actual high speed drill. And that's just honestly, to me, that's proof that there was a higher sophistication than we're allowing us to believe.
Yeah.
Us to.
There's
literally pictures.
That they did it as fast as us. Like some people say, they just took forever.
Well, no,
and I mean, dude, we can't rule that out. That's the biggest thing. We can't rule that out. That it just took them for fucking ever to do it.
No, they say the pyramids were built in 20 to 25 years.
Who says that?
Yeah,
The Egyptologists. The mainstream Egyptologists say that the pyramids were built in 20 to 25 years.
Oh, okay.
They have
That's
a record, apparently, from
I never heard
something.
that before. I thought it was a long time.
No, it was 20 to 25 years. They built all fucking 3 pyramids. Or maybe just the Great Pyramid.
Yeah,
no,
right.
it might just be the Great Pyramid, but that's still like 2.5 million stones that are 50 tons each, cut and carved and placed,
thousands
and
thousands
brought
of
from a
slaves,
quarry
though.
hundreds of miles away.
So
like
that works
about,
out
like,
to
slave culture,
they
though.
placed a 50-ton stone every 2 minutes.
right. Yeah. No, I get it. I've heard this before. Yeah, that's a little
Interesting.
far
That's
fetched to believe.
The
This would be a
that's
great
the
subject to
mainstream
come back
saying.
to the table.
Okay,
with.
how about this? What if most of that stone was already there?
No, they know it came from a quarry. That like
Every piece.
They can tell these stones were cut out of
what
quarry.
if half of it like was
that
already
was-
there?
they
And
located.
fucking,
Well, there's lots of structures there that it's like
Like the
very-
Sphinx was carved out of a
yeah,
out of the
bedrock
bedrock.
that was
yeah.
there. The pyramids are not that.
No. Yeah, the pyramids are mostly limestone, but they also have lots of granite, and most of the granite comes from Aswan, which is like 500 miles or 1,000 miles
Mhm.
away. But the thing is, like, there's lots of evidence of structures that are like underneath that are very, very complex, very tight-fitting stones, megalithic type stones, and then it's like shittier fucking stones built on top, and they're like, oh well, it's this stuff is older and blah blah blah, and they got better, and it's like, well, why is it on top of the better stone then? Why is the shittier stuff on top of the better stuff?
And it's so
Refurbishing.
it's so interesting.
You see that
we
even
have
in Peru.
These crazy stones, like cut the way they are from back then. Like just to think that there was some technology back then that we
that's
have
what I'm
lost,
saying.
that we have lost,
that we're
or
not
what-
giving them credit for.
Either we've lost it or it was never ours and it is someone brought it to us temporarily. Fucking,
But it's not
just
even
crazy
crazier.
it's crazy to think. It's just
it's
so cool.
I
Like to
fucking
me, it's
love
cooler
that.
than anything. Cooler
Okay.
than religion or anything. Like,
Have you seen the fucking giant obelisks that are in like I think it's in Lebanon?
maybe.
They are okay. So these obelisks, they never got actually finished like quarrying them out and like lifting them out. And they're still in the ground, but they're like perfectly cut in the ground. And all they had to do was like shave them out and finish the cut. These things weigh like 1,800 tons.
Yeah.
And it's like they were cutting those in place, one solid block of granite.
And the idea is they
And they
pulled
were
them
gonna-
across of logs that
and
they
they were gonna
rolled on
pick
top
those up.
of. Like,
Yeah.
no, you can't.
Okay, so
Well,
here's the thing.
Apparently, Stonehenge was made by.
That's not even close to
Stonehenge
the
is
feat
like
that,
10 tons, 20 tons.
I
and
know,
they
I
know
know.
that
This
those
is
stones came
1,800
from
tons.
others.
Hey.
So the Romans, their biggest crane could pick up like 20 tons or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like
they actually
would,
had cranes. That
yeah,
could
they
do
had
that,
these
eh?
big wooden
Yeah,
cranes,
like
Wow.
pulley
Yeah.
systems, basically.
but it's like, okay, this thing is 1,800
Not what you're
tons.
not what you're thinking of. It's
No, I'm
it's
thinking
like
of
very
some type
rudimentary,
of-
like
oh,
pulleys
that's
on
exactly
top
what-
of
like,
a log.
that's exactly
Okay,
what I'm
okay.
But like the only one,
They had
the only one like
cranes.
so high.
Just
Some
drove
dude
them,
was
man,
like
yeah.
thumbstick.
Use their feet.
That's how they built up hydraulic
Flintstones,
pressure.
fucking- Yeah, no.
Pump it up, pump
Yeah,
the water.
no, Not that retarded.
But like literally, these things are massive. Like fucking 1,800 tons, and fucking it's a solid stone thing. The thing's like fucking 80 feet long, fucking 8 feet in diameter, and it's an old school obelisk.
Hmm.
And it's like, okay, so it wasn't finished, but somehow these old fucking people were gonna pick that thing up out of the quarry and go transport it somewhere.
And not only like how do they
Like-
get the top few stones up there? Like if you were
no,
off-
it's one piece.
Sorry.
It's one piece.
Yeah. If I'm not sure if you've read this Fingerprints of the Gods book that I reference. I read it about 10 years ago and I can barely reference it today. It's insane. I would love to come back to the table with some notes from it or something, but as far as I can tell you, there's dimensions of it that kind of correspond to the actual dimension of the earth. Like there's this specific number that you can divide all these numbers by, and then they all they all run into the same number.
Fibonacci is
No, it's not
isn't
the
that what
fi-
it's called?
It's this one number that I would love to come back and tell you guys on the next episode. But it's a recurring theme.
It's 3. It's something
It's
about
3
3.
point blah 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 blah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's a recurring theme that happens in nature. Happens.
Yeah.
We seem
And
to
you're
use
right
it.
to say it's like the Fibonacci thing, because
I'm pretty sure those are people on the fucking block.
you got to show the pot. We're talking to people online here.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is.
I'm all out of fucking high speed internet, so it's not.
Yeah.
He ran out of high speed.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just a broke
2022.
electrician. Look at that. That thing's like 1,800 tons, and those are people standing on it.
That's an obelisk?
That's an obelisk carved out of the, I think that's in Lebanon.
It's not quite focusing for a camera just yet, but basically that's a giant tower that they're gonna cut out.
Yeah.
And they're gonna lift. Yeah, so I saw it on there.
You guys know what an obelisk is, like.
I hope they do.
It's like the Washington Monument.
You should find us an out song, maybe, Jer.
Oh, actually, I was.
Yeah.
Like, oh, but that's unreal. Like, how the fuck were they going to move that? And it's like those are the biggest stones, the biggest carvings ever found.
Yeah,
but they were never finished.
The idea is they roll it on logs, kind of thing. Like,
how would you even pick it out of the fucking ground?
Right. How did you carve the bottom of it?
Well, they talk like that about the stuff in like Peru as well, like what do they call, like Chichen Itza? I can't remember what the fuck their place is called.
Teotihuacan.
But like, okay, so they say they use like eucalyptus trees or whatever that grow very straight and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But it's like Peru had an incentive to fucking plant those like the 19th century or 20th century. So it's like those trees did not exist in that area back then. Like the native trees in that area were all very short, very like branchy, and it's like
that's nothing new. Humans always manipulate shit.
No, but like those trees like weren't around though.
Yeah.
So it's like, how did you have wood to roll these giant stone blocks?
Oh, I
right.
see.
So it's like that wood wasn't around back then because we only recently incentivized planting this type of tree.
Exactly.
So it's like.
And then in other places they say, oh, maybe they floated it down the river on rafts, and like even those rafts would be pretty difficult to build.
And there's lots of ones that are like, oh, well, they just never finished this structure. But then you look around and it's like, there's a piece of shattered stone over there, and it's like, it literally looks like they finished it and it blew the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like maybe they had some sort of power. Maybe they knew how to harness like acoustic energy into power. I don't know.
Yeah. And
like,
someone's mic is making.
That's it. That's a little bit of a rumble.
Oh, okay. I was
sorry,
but,
maybe because I'm leaning on it.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
That's all good. But I think this has been great. Honestly,
this has been a good podcast.
I think it's because I'm hand talking and like
and you're kind of knocking her a little. It's fine. People don't expect a goddamn professional shit out of the Crowded Room podcast.
That's all.
But ladies and gentlemen, I think you're the goddamn heroes if you're still here after an hour and a half. Let's give you a round of applause.
This has been a great conversation.
And even if you're here like after the fact, a couple months down the road, we really appreciate you guys listening to us. And hopefully you can like and follow even later on down the road. This has been Matt Barassa joining Alex and Jer on the Crowded Room podcast.
Hell yeah.
And I think we got some outro music for you here from Jer.
Yep. Oh,
but
fuck, I only planned on coming in for like a couple of minutes.
I know, right?
Like, hey, what's up, niggas?
Hey, let's not do that one. But thank you very much.
Shit.
And
so
yeah, what you got something going on?
Playing.
What happened to it? Oh, that's your thing.
Got
there.
the wrong one. There we go.
Anyways, like, subscribe. Thank you very much. From Prince George, British Columbia, this is the Crowded Room podcast with Alex and Jer.
We're going to chug some beers for you, Andrew. Have a good night, everybody.
Woo! Andrew, you got to be a guest soon, please.
Closed eyes won't rise when the sun's bright. Switch blades every meeting in the moonlight. I look to the fucking sky cause the moon bright. You know they say when the stars in my eyes really go running high. Let me know when alive when the union arises. No more time surviving out when it's dark. Cause we did that vibing, midnight driving, cruising by flying, living so fast, never think about dying. Once up in the dark, can we hang out with the bad man scars on my knuckles, cause we fucking with the wolf gang. Switchblade shining, that bright whining, stars in my eyes when the moonlight shines in. Murder rap on my first track, killing shit, cause I've been begging suicide on the second. I don't care, just accept it. Knife swipe, make it doom, switchblade coming soon. Chills on your spine when we out up to the fucking moon. Still shine bright, fast spot, make it eyes one, shut down, slice with the right sword. Love of this night, dance, my wrist, smooth shine of the blade, just cruising through the mist. Gonna be the midnight. Think twice about the motherfucking quick knock. Switchblade suicide with the wrist slice. Closed eyes won't rise when the sun's right. Switchblade serenaded in the moonlight. I'ma do the fucking sky cause the moon bright. You know they say when the stars in my eyes where they go running high. Let me know when alive when the union arrives. And it'll be the midnight. Think twice about the motherfucking quick knock. Switchblade suicide with the wrist slice. Closed eyes won't rise when the sun's right. Switchblade serenading in the moonlight. I'ma do the fucking sky cause the moon bright. You know they say when the stars in my eyes better go running high. Let me know when alive when the union arrives. And it'll be the midnight. Think twice about the motherfucking quick knock. Switchblade suicide with the wrist slice. Closed eyes won't rise when the sun's right. Switchblade serenading in the moonlight. I'ma do the fucking sky cause the moon bright. You know they say when the stars in my eyes better go running high. Let me know when alive when the union arrives. Switchblade.